Hey everybody, welcome back to the TSF Studios here in my lovely dining room. I had a viewer ask me if I would pack the ILBE rucksack, and in this video that's just what I'm going to do. Okay, one of the main issues with the ILBE, which is one of the reasons why I moved on, and that being said, please understand that I had this pack. I went to this pack because I was looking at going to Afghanistan, and I understood that the Mali 2 rucksack sucked. And if you guys can look back at the large Alice pack video, that system also sucks. So I was looking for a military solution because I was in the military to get me, up and down those mountains in Afghanistan. And this system, designed by Arc'teryx with the robust suspension, all right, is what sold me on this pack, which is why I got it. Okay, but in the military, I'm dealing with all kinds of different types of equipment, and this pack is designed for those different types of equipment. And I'm specifically talking about the sleep system, which I don't have. It consists of a stuff sack, bivy sack, a patrol bag, and an extreme cold weather bag. One goes inside the other, goes inside the other, and it all gets crammed into the stuff sack. The sack is compressible, but you're still left with a huge piece of kit. All right. So when you look at the ILBE, how it was designed, I think, was incorporating that sleep system. Now you can open the ILBE from both sides, but you could see the divider here. The divider is essentially in the center of the bag, so that I'm thinking, if you any Marines, let me know what your SOP load plans are in the comments below. But I'm thinking that the whole bottom of this thing goes for the sleep system. But what we're left with is this huge cavity of space, available packing space. Okay? So let's get back up here. Alright, the problem is that that divider splits the bag in two, so that when it's time to pack something, what happens is, like here is a 3-man tent. This is the Big Agnes Seed House SL3. Alright, you put it in here and it's at the top. It's at the top of the bag. It doesn't go all the way down. Alright, because of the pack divider. So in order for this system to work for civilian gear, you need to remove or disengage the you need to move the pack divider out of the way. There are 3 of these tabs that you have to unthread, and some are doubled over on themselves to secure them in place. Okay, so now the pack divider just kind of lays back. Hopefully I'm getting some light in here to see it, but the pack divider just lays against the back of the pack, and now everything is going to rest directly on your sleep system at the bottom of the pack. So there's no sleeping bag compartment for this pack, but you have the side access on both sides plus the top. So now we have to go ahead and reseal up the side of the bag to get the integrity back up, and then we can start stuffing all of our gear inside. Okay, so what we've done is we have taken the shelf and unattached it so that it hangs flat against the back of the pack. Now we have this huge cavity to fill with all of our bug out gear. Now, Dave Canterbury on the Wilderness Outfitters channel has this excellent review of the ILBE, and he talks about his comes with a dry bag insert that goes into the ILBE, and that is great. But the problem with having a huge waterproof bag in a system like this, which is designed with with side access, is if you put everything in a giant waterproof bag, you negate the effectiveness of this side access. So ditch the all-in-one bag, get yourself a bunch of waterproof stuff sacks, and compartmentalize your kit so that you don't have to, you have a flexible system and you're able to utilize it because of your system design, the way you design your system. Okay, so we have this this big bag, this huge bucket of room to fill. So there are a couple of theories. One is you want to use your kit to build the structure of the bag. Okay. Two, you want to what I want to think about as I'm packing this is how to bring the heavier things higher and keep it more centered between the shoulder blades. So what can you use that once you prioritize the order of use for your bag, i.e. I'm going to walk all day, I might stop for lunch and cook, so I might want my cook system readily available, then I'm going to walk some more, and then I will set up camp at some point, and that's the time that I'm going to need my tent, and then after I set up my tent, then I can break out my sleep system. So there's like a order of precedence, in how you pack your bag. One of the things you might consider too is the weather. If I got storm clouds, well, you might want to move your rain jacket closer to the top, or maybe closer to the side, somewhere on the side where you can just reach in the side and pull it out, instead of having to dig all the way through. Oh, I put my rain jacket poncho at the bottom down here, yada yada. So just some things to think about as you're planning your load plan here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my sleep system at the bottom to give a good base. I know that I'm not going to use my sleep system to the end of the day, so it could be my last priority as far as accessibility. Okay, now this is the REI Radiant 20, a 20-degree bag, and it's pretty big as far as sleeping bags go. And it fills, you can see it fills the cavity, but it is more compressible than that. And you don't want to just arbitrarily throw stuff in there and just stack all your stuff up without thinking about it. You still want to maximize your space. And because this bag is pretty tough, I know I can set it on the ground and I'm not going to have stuff poke through it. So because of that, I can go ahead and risk stuffing my air mattress down there, knowing that I'm not going to get pine needles poking through the bottom of this bag because it's just tougher than the rest. And also because it's an equivalent size. All right, this is the same length as the sleeping bag. So it'll fit alongside with no issues. Okay, so there you have the air mattress and sleeping bag side by side at the bottom of the bag. And now it's nice and flat, and now the bag can stand on its own. I don't have to hold it up, okay, because I have a good base of what we're doing here. My only experience is really working with the bags and how I've packed before, the same kind of theory, so I'm gonna try and approximate it, which is what I did in the Alice pack video of how I packed that one. I don't have a water bladder pocket here, another water bladder pouch. I don't have one, but I will still sort of design my system around that. So 3-liter Camelback. This is the Camelback Ambush. You can see it in another video that I did. And then to keep that in place, I will take the 3-man tent. This is the Big Agnes Seed House SL3. Alright, put that in there, and that kind of holds the bladder in place. Alright. So now what to surround it with? There's still oodles of room on both sides. One thing you can do is, like here's the poncho liner. Again, another piece of kit that's highly compressible and moldable to any shape or form. So then what else would you need to bug out with? Well, definitely more weather protection, but how much stuff? That is a great debate question about what one really needs to bug out to live. Not survive, live on your own, unplugged. Alright, it's only half as, I don't know if you can tell here, half as tall as the tent. Okay, so I have room to put stuff on, but on the other side here, this poncho liner, I can stuff it just as far down. Farther actually than the Gore-Tex, so I have room to stack more stuff. Okay, of like size. So we're going with the jacket theme. Let's put the this is the Equix Level 3 fleece jacket. Cook kit. Got it all. Okay, and you can see we're still same height so far. Alright, and we still have some space that we can utilize behind the Camelback. So what I would like to do is take my tent poles and stuff it behind there, which will put it right up against the frame of the pack, 1. And 2, the Camelback will just kind of like mold itself, the water bladder will mold itself around the tent poles, providing it a degree of protection. Okay, the water will kind of mold itself around there, kind of protecting it and keeping it in place. Alright, what else do I normally take? Survivor. K-bar heavy Bowie. Always bring this. This is my quick wood chopper. Which I always put on both sides of my tent frame if I'm bringing a tent frame. Extra clothes. Rain pants. Water filter. And you can also throw in knee pads. I kind of like Nut and Fancy's thing with the knee pads. My knees are kind of sensitive too, so when you're out in campground. doing stuff on the ground, knee pads really save your knees. Recommend them. You will notice that the bag is still fairly extendable. Alright, maybe we can throw some meals in here. Some Mountain House meals. Just to get us to our cache or our destination or our next break stop, right? Just emergency rations. I'll be the first to admit that I have not really dealt with the subject of food. I refer you to Tinny's website. There's a lot of freeze-dried, I should say Tinny's channel. He has a lot of freeze-dried techniques. Lots of foods. Dehydrated meals, dehydrating your own meals, etc. Okay, let's move on to the top lid. Okay, once you're loaded, you can kind of see that the pack wants to start rolling. So what you can do is go ahead and attach your sleeping mat on the outside. Well, why are you bringing your sleeping mat if you have an air mattress? Well, one, to protect the air mattress. Alright. These little modern day tents aren't as thick as this Cordura. And if you set your tent on a pine needle forest or on some rocks or something like that, you might get some penetration through the tent and into your air mattress. So setting your air mattress on a closed foam pad will kind of protect that even inside your tent. That's what I'm going with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. So we see now that it is it's standing up by itself now. Love these zipper pulls, they're huge. And so is the lid, pretty cavernous. OPSEC, Swag Shack, 100 feet of 550 cord and some tent stakes. Neck gaiter, PT Cat combo. Steri pen. Eating utensils, chem lights for emergencies, gaiters, gloves and inserts. I'd also put spare maps in here, batteries for the illumination. Alright, and whatever else you can think of, whatever your MO is. Alright, because there's so much more room, you can add more accessory pouches here. What I've done is I've added more water bladder pouches on the side so I can carry more water. So water bladder pouch. Recommend that you stuff the bladder in there before the pack is packed. That way it'll you'll be able to stuff it in there since it's clinging to the side of the bag here. The bag itself is kind of affecting its ability to get packed. Alright. So do your water bladder. Water bladders first. Okay. And you could put 2 in there, so now you're looking at carrying, you know, more water than, you know, was previously possible. Heck, you can even put one, you know, on its own, just with the pockets that came. I mean, you got to worry about protecting this sucker. Right, but those are other possibilities. The pack is just very, very flexible with what you can do with it. Okay, you can do the same thing on the other side. Okay, but just a lot of potential. Okay, one thing about this pack is the pass-throughs. These sleeves here, you can pass stuff through it. Got my pot here, so I know how this is going to work. Okay, but Wetterling's axe on the side here. You know what else? And that's just through the pass-through. There's also all of the compression straps. You know, again, these packs were designed to carry mortar rounds on the side here, so the space is quite a lot. So it's really, you know, up to your imagination how to load this sucker and what you want to put where, how much. You know, it's up to you. You know what you can't do with the sucker, but it's pretty impressive. And don't forget also, right here, 1, 2, right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, your assault pack clips on there, which I don't have handy. I'm also another pocket here for another water bladder. So water bladder here goes up, clips up over here. You know, it's all going to get all jacked up with whatever you have here. You know, your load plan's going to get all screwy. My problem with this pack really comes from the general weight of it, because the pack itself is 8.4 pounds. You put 3 liters of water in it, and you're talking about 15 pounds before you even put any other piece of kit in there. Third bladder. Alright, third bladder. So tons and tons of space on this pack for flexibility. But this thing is unbearably heavy, man. Alright, let me back up and we'll try this sucker on. The design here has 4 rows of 6 columns. So a utility pouch that requires 4 columns and another utility pouch requiring 2 columns fits just fine on here. So I moved the pouch over and added this. This was actually issued as a Nalgene bottle carrier, but what I've done is I've stuffed my poncho in here. So now I have access to rain gear in case of inclement weather. Okay, so I got on the scale, and my weight minus the pack weight of what I've loaded, including 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 9 liters of water with all of the gear that you saw me load in here is approximately 63 pounds. So we're talking about 63 pounds with all this stuff, and that's without food. Without food, plus the pack being 8.4 pounds. So, but we're pretty much ready for anything. The only thing, and I'm going to have to invest in it, is a Molly e-tool carrier so I can apply it to something like this. But if you're going to go on the long haul, this might be a solution, except for the incredible weight of all this stuff. So let's go ahead and put it on. Important to get it high enough. A lot of people just, you have to know where your spot is, where your lumbar is. Like right now, it's too low. This is the top right here where my thumbs are. That's the top of the bone. That needs to be center of the waist pad. So right now, it's too low. One of the things that I do not like about this are the awkward outward center pulls of the hip belt. I'd much rather have the Gregory style where you just pull forward. Getting a good cinch on there is kind of tough. Alright, so it's around the hips now. But it's still kind of not locked in. It's resting, well, not really. It's not really resting on the shoulders. See the load lifters here, keeping the straps off of the shoulders. It's really all on the weight and on the front of the chest here. Okay? But just the bulk of the thing. If you were a Marine fighting and you had this on, you'd definitely have to ditch it, because there's no way you can go into prone like this. You know, if you had to fight on your belly, there's just no way. So this would definitely be ditch the pack in a fight mode. But I am standing up straight with no fear of falling over because of the hip belt. The waist belt, putting all the weight of the pack onto your hip bone, alright, it makes it part of you. Alright, but one of the problems with this thing is that this material, this nylon material here, is going to just soak up all of your sweat. It's going to soak up all of your sweat. So another reason to waterproof all your stuff inside, because your sweat will get through to your gear and all your gear will get wet as well. Okay, I'm sure you can see on the shoulder straps here the salt stains from the work that I've done in this pack. Alright, it just soaks up your sweat. This back panel here, designed by Arc'teryx, is just a huge sponge. The nylon pads, the Cordura or whatever the cloth is covering the foam shoulder straps, just soaks up your sweat. The pack itself will cause you to dehydrate if you're not constantly hydrating. So what's another problem? Something that you have to look out for. But you've seen the pack now loaded for bear. Hopefully you'll watch this video and you'll watch the Alice pack video and see the comparison of the two, the pros and cons of each. So hey, as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate the comments and feedback and the support. If you like what you see, subscribe. You can get on Facebook and find us on there on the links on the channel homepage. Go to the Sable Fighter channel, and there's a link to Facebook, the filmmaking blog. I'll have some pictures from this shoot here and how I'm doing it at the house. And we'll see you next time. Make sure you guys just get out there. Don't look at your gear sitting in your closet. Put it on and get out there. We'll see you next time.